So I am Sumit Banodkar. I have come from Bangalore. However, I am pretty much a Mumbaikar. It's just been some past 7 years since I have been to Bangalore. So I am the IT manager at Hindustan Unilever Limited, and I handle the solution manager, CRM, PI, GRC, release and change management applications at HUL. So agenda I think is pretty much clear. What basically I'm planning to cover is how we have integrated the ITSM and change control process in solution manager. A brief on the company overview. So Hindustan Unilever has been operating in India since past 75 years, and we are touching every 2 out of 3 Indians. How many of you are using HUL products? Yeah, so I think this statement holds true. Our head office is in Mumbai, and we have 2 R&D centers. Just a slide on the capability. So in the 1990s, we had the ERP application. It was MFG Pro, and it was decentralized. When I say decentralized, each of the manufacturing units or each of the locations had its own instance of ERP. MFG Pro was the package, and the unit was responsible. So whatever configurations, etc., everything, the unit was responsible, and they were pretty much having their own local instance. Then gradually, from 2001 to 2007. It was migrated to a central instance. So when I say central instance, still the ERP was MFG Pro, but it was migrated to a shared server whereby the units used to connect centrally. And we had also centralized some processes like payments, etc. So those were moved to a shared services. Then finally, starting 2007, we started the implementation of SAP. So now, so it's not that from 2013 we have completed it now. It was, I think it took around 2 years, 2 to 3 years for us to migrate all the units to SAP. So we operate around, we have around 60 odd depots, around 120 odd manufacturing locations, and around 8 offices across India. So now currently everything is now on SAP. So for IT perspective, of course, it's not just to provide the service. We are actively engaging with the business team on ways to reduce cost, whether it be in terms of inventory reduction or in terms of how we can optimize the cost in freight, transport planning, etc. So we are using most of the to achieve this. We are using almost all of the key SAP components for doing this. Just a brief on the landscape which we have. So as you can see, we are pretty much using most of the core SAP components. Our primary transaction system is ECC, used for our day-to-day transaction. Then we have SNC for collaboration with our customers. We have SCM, which is for production planning, distribution planning, for truck planning. We are using SRM primarily to interface with our tea buyers, with our tea suppliers, sorry. CRM is, we have 2 call centers to cater to queries from our customers as well as our consumers. Anyone did get a chance to have anyone called the Lever Care? That is what we call the, no one? Okay, so we are operating 2 call centers and they are using SAP CRM. So SAP CRM is exposed to the call centers. We are using EP plus C. Our integration engine is PI. So all non-SAP systems are compulsorily integrated through PI with ECC as a process. BW is used as a reporting tool along with the accelerator to fasten up queries, to fasten up the report execution time. All that helps us to drive this is Solution Manager, and we have the GRC tool for governance, risk and controls. We even partner with our external vendors, so that is again through PI. This slide talks about the use case of Solution Manager. So we are pretty much using Solution Manager is used for the entire life cycle of the project. So right from the when the project is thought about, right from the blueprinting phase till the designing phase till the time we land the project into production, and even post that, the monitoring, the support part, entire we have configured into Solution Manager. So the statement which was made in first half, that Solution Manager is the single source of truth, it pretty much applies to us. Here I would just try to portray some of the benefits and use cases, how we have configured the ITSM process. Some of the key benefits just wanted to highlight. So it's integrated with each of my SAP, each of the SAP systems, ECC, BW. So from any system I can directly log a call and it gets logged into Solution Manager. We have integrated it through email, through auto ticketing, through BPM. So pretty much all functionalities which are available for ITSM, we are using it. Plus even messages which needs to be raised to OSS is directly raised through Solution Manager. Charm, so at HUL none of the transports are moved manually. So everything is integrated through Solution Manager, and we have around 300 plus transports which are moved every month. It's seamlessly done through the Charm utility. And it's not just the movement of transports also, so Unilever being a listed company in NASDAQ, so there are some processes which needs to be followed. Sarbanes-Oxley, popularly known as SOX. So we have to adhere to certain process. Charm in Solution Manager helps us to adhere to that process. So there is nothing which can possibly get missed out in terms of adherence. So maybe when I try to explain, I'll try to explain how we have integrated even the SOX compliance process into Charm. One of the key important things is that there is now no involvement by the basis team or the technical team to move my transport. So of course to move the transports from dev to QA. It's pretty much done by the development team without any risk of opening the transport related codes to the normal development team. So it has even helped us to free up some of the resources. So I am not dependent upon some other teams if I have to move transports from a development to a QA, and in case if the UAT is rejected, I have to again move it to development. So it's pretty much seamless. So just an overview. Now as we can see, so from 2008 onwards, we are using Solution Manager, the ticket logging process. sorry. At the start, we had around 65,000 calls per year. So gradually, as the process has matured and the users have started gaining knowledge about the process, the calls have started to reduce. This graph shows that so there is no tickets which are now raised out of solution manager. So everything, so there are no emails, etc. Emails are not entertained. If anything is there, it's through ticketing. Similarly, for any transports which are moved, it's been in use since 2008, and so as I told you, we have around 300 plus transports which are moved every month, and it's moved pretty seamlessly across all systems.
Maybe you can also explain the problem and knowledge article, which is quite unique. Not many customers.
Yeah, so I am covering it in the subsequent slides. Yeah. So just a process flow. We have a user. If he faces a problem, he looks into the knowledge article which has been activated into Solution Manager. So he doesn't, if he faces a problem, he doesn't directly just log a ticket. There are knowledge articles which is maintained in Solution Manager, and he first tries to help himself. And at HUL, we have also, with this help, we have also constituted something called as the super user model. So at each of the locations, there is one user who is identified. He might be a system officer, he might be an IT guy, or he might be a functional guy. When I say functional guy, he might be from the purchasing department, but maybe a slightly tech-savvy person, whom we have then trained on all the processes, and then he is the one point of contact for the entire unit. So if the user faces a problem, he would approach him first, and he, instead of directly raising a call to the support team, he would go through the knowledge articles, he would try to analyze the problem himself and then provide the solution. And that is one of the reasons where in the chart which I had just shown, from 65,000 calls, it's there a gradual dip. This is achieved through all these ways whereby constitution of the super user model at the L1, at the factory level, we call it as the L1 support there. This again has helped us in considerably reducing our support resources. So if I remember clearly, at the time of go live, say just for a manufacturing process, I had around 18 FTEs. In 2 years' time, it reduced to 3. So that is the amount of benefit which it has given by putting in this model, whereby they try to do a self-help. So, and they are also self-aware of, so it's not that kuch problem aaya, okay, there is an error, let me, there is a team who is there. So they would try to resolve it first themselves. Then if the resolution is fine, if resolution is there is no ticket which is logged, and that's the end of the call. Otherwise, he logs a call to the support team. The support team would analyze, and if there is a system change, if there is no system change which is required, it is more of a user understanding, or it's more like a master maintenance activity, he would update the resolution in the ticket itself. And in case if it's something a user training issue, he would again update it back in the solution database. So as next time any other unit faces a problem, any other user faces a problem, he can again go back and refer to the knowledge base. This knowledge base not just helps the end user, but also if there is a case whereby in the support team itself there is a new resource who has joined in. So he also gets to know of what all issues, what all recurring issues are logged, and it helps to update himself. In case there is a change which is required, if it's identified as a system bug or if there is a small configuration change, etc., which is required, it goes to the development team. And and there is a CR which is raised. So the feature is that a CR is directly raised from the incident ticket itself, so that it's tracked end to end. All this is achieved within the SLAs, and the good part is that SLAs are also defined within this framework. So across all the support teams which are there is a SLA which is defined, and so we are currently supporting over 7,000 plus users, and as I told, around close to 200 locations. Just some of the screenshots. So how it looks like. This is the incident ticket. Key features. It has multi-level categorization, whereby you can exactly categorize a ticket. How this further helps is that even updating during the knowledge article. So based upon the categorization which you feed in, you can get much richer output from the knowledge article. He can features which are available, he can select the appropriate status based upon which his SLAs are calculated. So we have also enabled a feature, though it is a bit of customization which is done, whereby through this window itself, through the incident ticket itself, we can if there is a issue which is raised due to a recent CR which is moved. So we have enabled tracking through the screen itself, so that I know that okay, these are the 10 tickets which I received, and this is due to a CR which was moved last week, so that I can fix up accountability and I can take further corrective actions. Problem ticket, again a key feature. There can be cases that there are incidents which has been reported and there is a workaround which is available. So we would provide the user a workaround. We would close the incident. However, because it's a workaround and it's not a permanent fix, and it is likely that it will come later on, we create a problem ticket. So the problem ticket remains open, and all the incidents which are linked, we attach it to the problem ticket. How this helps is that it still keeps in our radar that there is a particular incident and it was just closed by giving a workaround. However, a permanent fix is yet to be applied. So a problem incident is created, and appropriately it is assigned to the development team, and then it is tracked. This is the knowledge article which I was mentioning. So pretty much easy to use, and again you can define it as per the categorization and put in your keywords, so that the retrieval of the data is much more helpful. We have currently around 120 articles, and we continuously keep on updating as and when we get if there are repetitive calls. Ticketing through BPM, this was just touched upon in the earlier session. So through BPM we automatically create incident tickets. So the next slide will just try to cover how we are using this functionality, and this is a very powerful feature, because it has actually helped us again in reducing the number of support resources. So this as an example, I have taken the example of a PI, whereby for all interfaces it's monitored through BPM. So in case if there are any failures, no one has to do a eyeballing. Otherwise, the support guy will have to do eyeballing. He'll have to log into the system, or he'll have to log into the message queue and see whether are there any failures. With this auto ticketing, if there is a failure, it has the capability to identify whether it's a system error or an application error, and appropriately it routes the call to the correct support team. That is what was shown here. So this is the ticket which gets generated, and it identifies which is the team it should work on. So if it's a system error, maybe it will go to the basis or the technical team. If it's application error, something to do with masters or validation, it will go to the functional team. So it helps in reducing the amount of time taken to analyze of what is the issue. This is just one of the use case. We at HUL have used the BPM feature for, one is for interfacing and also for job scheduling. Job scheduling from, so if there are any background job failures, again it's auto-ticketed. It's auto-ticketed to the respective teams. Similarly, BW process chain monitoring. So earlier, day and night, there used to be a dedicated L1 team whose only job in life used to be to log into the BW queues and do a eyeballing to see if any process chain has failed. Now with this, there is no eyeballing required. They have to just sit and check their message queues. So if there is any failures, it will get auto-ticketed. Any queries on ITSM process?
Could you please repeat your question? Yeah, I'll repeat my question. Especially on ITSM, when you mentioned you're using ITSM for BW monitoring, do you mean somebody need not be in office still to capture the errors, or he need not look into the system, but he still needs to look at the alerts which ITSM throws or the incidents which ITSM creates? Because I believe somebody will have to still monitor the alerts.
Okay, so there used to be a team. So when I say the L1 team, it is a basic level team who is not capable of doing any analysis. Their job is to just do a monitoring. So that entire team itself is not required if you get a auto alert. So that alert can directly land to a team who is doing the actual analysis. So it will not wipe out the entire support team. However, if there is a failure in a process chain, you still require a person who has to log into the system and see why that process chain has failed. So the support team is still required. It's just that the team, the basic L1 team, who has to just do eyeballing, see processes are failed, what has, meaning are there any successes, are there any failures, that team is eliminated.
Okay, thank you.
Again, rich functionality. Of course, whatever you have put into Solution Manager, you would like to do a reporting. These are not standard dashboards. So these are our custom dashboards. So maybe I'm seeing some faces who are astonished. So these are all custom dashboards which we have made. However, the base data in Solution Manager. So these are the online dashboards which are displayed on usually it's displayed on a big TV, so that it says that, oh, is there how many SLA violations are happening. So it's just a snapshot of those dashboards. Again, we use Solution Manager data to review how is the health of the system, how many incidents are done. So track wise there is a bifurcation, and based upon that there is a monthly governance meeting which helps us to identify, is there a potential issue or is there something alarming which is there. So these are some of the just snapshots which I have taken from those reviews. Again, SLA monitoring, not a standard dashboard. It's a custom dashboard, but taking the data through Solution Manager helps us in doing SLA monitoring and taking corrective action. Security dashboard, though not directly linked to ITSM, but just as a capability of Solution Manager 7.1, it has some standard dashboards which are there. So this is one of the dashboards. Again, just a bit of customization which was done, but key point is that Solution Manager, we have used a feature whereby Solution Manager sitting centrally, it can connect to all the systems and pull out the relevant data. So for example, we are saying that, so these are each of the systems, ECC, BW, and some of the security points. So for example, is the standard password changed for some of the default users, say SAP star or Didic star? So that's a snapshot which I get. Or is the client open or closed, the production client open or closed? So all these settings I can directly pull from Solution Manager. I don't have to go to each and every system to check whether the settings are open or not. It's an online dashboard. Anytime I can just click and the dashboard appears. However, I understand that I think with SP, so we are currently on SP4. From SP5 onwards, there is a rich set of dashboards. So maybe by this month end, we are planning to upgrade to SP8. So hopefully all these custom dashboards should go out.
We have 25 different reports,
okay,
which are standard BW reports, which are shipped as SP5.
Yeah. A glimpse on the change control process. Here again, this entire process is tightly governed through Solution Manager. There is nothing which happens outside through emails or through external communications. Right from the start of the process, yeah, of course, the first process of discussing the change is outside the system, where the user will discuss the change with the change manager from there on. So once the change is accepted, the change manager would create a CR. He would create the CR through Solution Manager. He would assign to the concerned developer. Once the developer has developed it, he would test it, and from there on, then he has the flexibility of himself moving the transports to subsequent landscapes other than production. So if there is a regression server available, he can also move it to the regression server post all the required testings are done. So this is a standard process which I think many of the companies would be following. Again, the key point to note is that there is a compliance team also which is introduced. Now after all the changes are done, so it is fit to be imported into production, there is a compliance team which checks whether the documentations are there as per the processes which are defined. Again, the documents, etc., it's not uploaded somewhere externally. It is uploaded at the CR level itself. So I have a proper track which document pertains to which CR. So in short, each CR will have its sets of documents. So my documentation automatically gets maintained, and that too with the correct process. So if it's a change which is there, so as per the documentation guidelines, it would be checked whether the URS was approved by the concerned BPO or not, or whether the appropriate testing were performed in the right environment or not. Now all these is possible because we have integrated this entire process through Solution Manager itself. There is nothing external, there is no external mail communication which happens, and all these are defined through workflows and status change. So each of these stakeholders are assigned to only their respective status access. So for example, the operator cannot move the change to production unless and until the status is changed by the compliance team. So it's tightly governed. So it automatically ensures that all my processes are adhered to. So this is how we have tried to use the charm process to help that we are adhering to the processes which are defined.
So, just one question.
Yeah.
How do you check an enhancement that takes place at the development stage?
Check the enhancement, meaning how the compliance team knows that it's an enhancement and what sort of documents it should check. Is that what is the query?
At the development stage, you said implement, test, release. From there starts your cycle.
Yeah.
Suppose there's an enhancement there.
It will still follow the same. So I have not covered all the sub things. So there can be enhancement, there can be a bug fix, it can be a config change, it can be a master data change, it can be any change. But ideally it will follow this cycle.
So
Is that what you are looking for?
You're saying that a change control process
Yeah.
to Java goes from implement. Actually, your dynamic start from implement, right?
Yeah.
Suppose at the dynamic stage, you are not able to go forward because there is a enhancement or something that tells you that you cannot go forward. How do you track that?
I didn't quite get it.
You discuss a change and a problem, right?
Yeah.
So at that particular point of time, you don't know that there is an enhancement.
Okay, so I would know when the time I create a CR itself, right? So I would ideally know. So if I am the change manager, so for example, I am also the change manager for CRM process. So if you as a user comes to me, you say that I want to carry so and so change. You as a user might not know whether it's an enhancement or it's a new request or it's a, I don't know, it's a bug fix or something. But I as a change manager, I know that it's an enhancement. So at the time of creating the CR itself, I would create the CR with type as enhancement. Or if it's, yeah, so enhancement. So if there is an existing process which is there, so take, I don't know, existing T code, say ME21N, so a creation of a process order. If he is asking for a change, if he is asking for a particular request, I would know that in the existing process itself I should do a change. So it's an enhancement. If he comes out with something which has not been configured into a system, I knew it's a new request. So at the time of creation of the CR itself, I will know. It will not go unless and until I as a change manager am aware of what is the change I am taking. It would not even move to the development team. So at the CR level itself, I track it. And that is how my compliance team comes to know of what documents to check for what. So for example, if it's a bug fix would ideally not have a URS.
So you are saying this is an arrow that should go back to the user and say that this is not part of the development.
Yeah, so as I told, it's just a pictorial representation. You are correct. If it is something that after discussion, if he doesn't want to take up, it just gets dropped here. Yeah, it just gets dropped here. So it's just a flow which if I had put more arrows, maybe probably. So that's the reason I told that this is a standard thing which everyone would have followed.
Because, in the SAP presentation they said minor, when one of the slides they said minor changes in the system after the go live.
Correct. You are correct. So we also at HUL, we also track those changes. So we also do categorization as major, minor. We have our own definition. If we say that, okay, if any change is typically less than 20 days, we consider that as a minor change. If anything more than 20 days and if it impacts, say if it impacts across landscapes or it impacts 2-3 landscapes, so I'm doing a change in ECC due to which I have to do a change in PI. It's a major change. So that is still tracked. With this chart, I'm just trying to show a flow. I have not tried to capture the various categories of changes which are done. Yeah? Yeah.
How are you tracking or mapping the scope changes which occurs in this CR flow process? I mean to say, there might be different type of, let's say you have deployed one changes, the change went to QA. So there might be 2-3 reasons where the changes can come back to development. One might be there might be a bug fix or there might be an issue in the development itself. So that can be fixed up. You can change the status to in development and it again comes back to development and you can do the fix change. Now at this point of time when you release this to the user, actual user for unit testing, user changes the scope. Let's say he was asking for X, now he is asking X plus 1. So how that particular thing you are catering or you are capturing in charms or this change control process in solution manager?
Okay, so if at the time of when it is moved here in QA and at the time of testing, the end user says that, hey, I'm sorry, that time I didn't understand that what I wanted, but this is what I actually want. He would have to submit a revised URS. He would have to submit a revised URS, which would then again flow through this change.
How will you keep a track that this particular the present change which is getting created is a subset of, or it's a part of this change? Means that's a scope change, actually speaking of. So how will you keep a track, and later on how will you project it in a dashboard that these are the instances of scope changes by user, so which may delay your some project or some activities? If a new CR is created, how you can relate to the earlier CR?
Okay, so again as a process, I didn't try to cover all those things here because it would complicate and say it can be a.
Because there's no control documentation kept there in this slide. He's not showing you the document control scenario in this slide, which all have done, got good process documentation and control right. He has not done that. He's not done that. He's not showing you the control. It's technical only. Any document that is generated, whether it's technical or functional or techno-functional, you have to keep a control over the document for changes.
No, he is not talking about document at all. He is talking about if there is a scope change and a new transport request has to be created for that scope change, how that is being tracked and how it is being moved along with the original.
Okay, so let me try to answer it. One, for any change which moves, which has to move, there is something called as a CAB process which we have instituted at HUL. So I would have something called as one CAB number for a change. For one change I can have n number of CRs. I would track all those CRs against those CAB. But to answer your question straight, yes, through this I would actually not be able to identify whether if there is a scope change. If there is a scope change, then suddenly at the time of UAT, if there is a scope change, whether that particular change is pertaining to I have already done it and then again do it, I am not tracking it through this. I am not using this tool for tracking that. It is governed outside. So it is governed outside. So there are various committees which are there. With CHARM, I am trying to govern the process of transports. I am trying to govern the process of documentations which are moving into production. So I am not trying to govern if there are any changes, or if for example he has approved for the UAT but then it fails into production. For that there is a separate process which is there in place. It's not governed through this. We have a separate tracking mechanism, there are governance meetings, etc. Fine. So similarly we have a separate process which is put in month on month during incident reviews or during support reviews or development reviews. Inside that is getting tracked.
One small question. Are you using test automations along with this CHARM process?
Okay, so when you say test automation, we are using for ECC we are using regression testing. We do. Okay. However, it is so though the statuses and controls are maintained through CHARM. So what happens is once the UAT is completed, all the CRs which are supposed to go into production. So we have something called as a monthly window. Ideally it would be on one Sunday. On that particular Sunday all changes would move. So before the moment there is a 4 days of regression testing, 4 to 5 days. All my CRs which has been UAT cleared and which has to move into that particular window participate into regression testing.
I just want to know
We are not. We are using QTP. We are using QTP.
Is it linked with charm or it is done standalone separately of using your regression testing?
It is not tightly linked with charm. However, statuses are linked with charm. So for example, when I say statuses, all statuses which I set as to be regression tested, all those.
Somebody will do the regression testing and manually come in charms and update the status as
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. So all those particular UCs, all those particular CRs, when I move the status as to be regression tested, all those are moved to my regression box. And it's automated script where there is a 3 days of festival which happens and entire scenarios are tested. Sorry, I didn't get it.
Are you tracking the change management for respective projects as well?
Yeah. So you are saying for a new project, right? Yeah, we do. We do it through Solman.
So I think there is an option, right? There is two options. One is the business project for respective application, and second is the research project, right? So actually we have implemented the change management, but we are placed to the but when we are filing a report, that respective change as part of the project has not happened. So it is honestly we are doing for
So once you create a project, you can categorize it into an implementation project and into a maintenance project. So if it's a normal maintenance project, then this CR process flows into. And if it's a implementation project, so with that CR, you can actually map your project plan to that particular project. You can inbuilt when the project is going to start, when you are going to complete the BBP phase, when you are going to actually start the realization phase. So all these things can be mapped in the solution manager project itself, and from there you can have quality gate control. That is another functionality of solution manager project. From there you can once the BBP team creates the BBP, then only the developments will start. So at that phase you can create a CR, you can create n number of CRs which will be linked to that particular project, and in turn with the changes you can create transport request. So all total you can get a hierarchy that this is the project, these are the changes, these are transport requests, everything. It's available.
Hello, just one question. In the charm, we have 3 types of requests. That is a normal change, urgent change, and admin change. Which of the type you are using in your company?
So we are using urgent correction.
Okay. In totality, you are using only one, that is urgent.
Yeah, we are using urgent correction.
Okay. Okay, just thanks.
No problem.
If you are using urgent change, then how you are so I don't know, I mean, if you are using urgent change, then you are not using TOCs, transport of copies.
We are not using?
TOC, transport of copy, means suppose in quality, if transport request you have moved in quality and due to some reason it failed, there might be a developmental issue. Now you need to create another transport request for that. So here, if you are using TOC, then you do not need to create another separate transport request. You can create a new sub node in that particular transport request. But if you are using that flow of urgent change, this is not possible as per standard SAP. It is only possible in normal change.
Okay, so maybe we are not using. Yes. ठीक है, sure. I'll proceed. Charm, some of the benefits or some of the things which we found is a great advantage. One is that it's like a single tool to manage all transports. I'm not worried about which transport should go to which system. Through solution manager itself, if I've defined IBase properly, it will automatically ensure that it goes to the right system. Again, it's landscape independent. If there is any transport errors which are there, I can remotely monitor it through Solution Manager itself. Entire sequence of transports are automatically handled. So if I'm not worried about that my program changes will move first and my structure changes will move later, which will result in dumping, Solution Manager ensures that the sequencing is taken care. Everything is workflow based. So at each stage, mails are triggered, which helps to keep a tab, to keep a control of what all changes are moved and is currently at which status. So SOX compliance, so it has enabled to embed our compliance process right from the time the CR is created till the time it is moved in production. I have a complete track, I have a complete history of what has happened to that particular CR. So just some of the snapshots. These are typically the mailers which are configured. So a development has been completed. I'll get a mail. A development is a particular testing has failed. It has moved back. I get a status change, so I can check with the developer that hey, what has gone wrong. There is nothing which is hidden from the change manager. Everything is tracked through workflow mails. Logs which are available directly in Solman. I can understand that in which system the transport has failed. Status checks, this is what I was mentioning. Each user has access only to a particular status. He cannot bypass a particular status check and go out. Again, compliance check at CR level itself. I can either maintain the documentation or I can maintain the link to the particular documentation in the CR. So there is a track. Tomorrow, after 2 years or after 7 years, based upon the statutory requirements, if there is an audit which is happening, I don't have to go and search my mails, or don't go and search into another system that where are the documents which I've kept for this particular change or what this change is all about. I know what is the change and all the documents are available. Yes. So the two ways we do it. One is that so some of the documents are attached to the CR itself. Some of the other documents like a FS or a TS or a URS, that is put it into the solution documentation, the Solar 02. So there are those tabs, documentation tabs which are available. It is uploaded there, a link is generated, and then that is attached here. So it's light. Roadmap for us. We not just for Solution Manager, but as a policy for all our landscapes, all our 13 odd landscape. Every yearly we at least do one upgrade. It can either be a EHP, a version, or a SP. So for Solution Manager, SP8 is released, and it's planned to be upgraded by this month end. We are looking for charm integration for non-SAP systems. One of the business case has come up. I think this is not too visible. What it tries to portray is that, so this is India. Unilever as a whole, there is a plan that there would be only one Solution Manager instance. So currently, just a bit on the structure. So for entire Unilever, for all Unilever countries, so all there are 4 templates. There are 4 templates which are followed. One template which is followed is for India and Sri Lanka. There is another template which is followed for the Asia, Africa country. There is another template for America. There is another template for Europe. And there are 4 Solution Manager instances for Unilever. The plan is that it would be only one Solution Manager instance, and all the processes, everything would be migrated to that particular instance. So that is what is the roadmap.
Non-SAP system. So any person from a non-SAP system is putting a request for a change request. Whether he has to be SAP user ID or it can be handled outside.
It's not very clear.
So for a non-SAP system, anybody asking for a change request and it handled through solution manager, he needs to be SAP ID or it can be handled outside?
Licensing question.
Licensing question.
So for person who is logging the change, there is no license impact. The person who is processing the change or incident for that matter, there is a license impact. And the other thing is that solution manager can be used for SAP and non-SAP systems, both from incident management and change management point of view, only for SAP solutions, meaning solutions, non-SAP systems which are integrated to SAP. That's the standard definition. Yeah. If it is a pure play non-SAP system which is not integrated to SAP, yeah, so then there will be a license impact for you to actually use solution manager. Yeah. So that's the general definition of using it for SAP solution.
Talked about even asking for IT assets, right? That's the incident.
Yeah.
It's a non-SAP process, right? And managing the IT assets which are not SAP related processes.
Yes.
So will that also attract for a SAP license?
So as I said, the definition goes like this, that anything which is called as an SAP solution. So our definition of SAP solution is that anything that is integrated to SAP system, yeah, is covered under this definition of SAP solution. If it is not integrated to SAP solution or SAP system, then it is not covered as part of this license. Yeah. So that's what it means.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in fact we would be reaching to you because we would be needing help in doing charm. So currently we have not integrated any of the non-SAP systems with this. So yeah, any questions?
In your HRP instance, how many servers you are having? How many clients you are having? Means dev, QA and production? 3? Or?
Okay, so one is it number of clients which you are asking, or number of landscapes?
Clients.
So,
Clients.
Okay, so I have landscapes. Let me first put the landscapes. We would have a mock system, which is a sandbox. We would have a development system. We would have a QA system. We would have a regression system, and we will have a production system. Now, in terms of clients, my development system would have would have either 2 or 3 clients. It's not for certain systems I would have 2 clients, for certain systems I would have 2 clients. One client would be a golden master, and another client I would be doing workbench changes. The third client I would be doing testing, which has data. So that is typically I would do for any ECC system. However, we also have 2 clients, so it's not.
So 2 clients in dev, 1 in QA,
1 in QA,
1 in prod.
Yes.
So if there is suppose a separate box that is pre-production between QA and prod, so I believe that SAP Solution Manager doesn't support 4 landscapes or 4 servers connected to charms. Maybe if I am wrong, maybe you can say. It support? Okay, then it's fine. Sure, it's fine. Okay, thanks.
Any more questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.